Atmosphere.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the podcast that Sam and Jack built. My name is Sam Castle, and with me I have my co-host Jack. Jack, how are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. Beautimous.
Yes, you were all of those things. And today what we were going to be talking about, we're pretty much just going to be talking about everything Batman related. So pretty much what we're going to be talking about is Robert Pattinson's Batman. The Batman's going to be coming out in approximately 2 months from now. We're also going to be talking about stuff that's going to be going on in the Flash movie with Michael Keaton's Batman and Ben Affleck's Batman, and pretty much what DC has in store for the Batman as a character. And also we're just going to be talking about just kind of our stuff overall, possibly where all of the Batman movies rank, as well as just kind of theories on what's going to happen in this new Batman movie and kind of what we want maybe like as villains or just kind of stuff along those lines for Pattinson's trilogy. So pretty much to start off, I just want to say, Jack, that I'm really hoping that the Batman will just become my favorite movie of all time. And as well, I hope to God that this actually does overtake The Dark Knight as the best Batman movie of all time as well. I know that's a bold statement, but that's literally like what I hope that this movie will turn out to be. Because from everything that we've seen before, you know, from the DC fandom, the first trailer to the second trailer from DC fandom, and then the new Bat and the Cat trailer, everything is shaping up to be an actual like Batman movie, like an actual comic accurate Batman that we haven't really seen before. Nolan was like super grounded and realistic. Michael Keaton's Batman was super, you know, kind of like gothic, you know, a gothic dark vibe with Tim Burton and his Batman. And, you know, obviously Val Kilmer and George Clooney, they just kind of went silly with all that stuff. Ben Affleck's Batman, we got a brutal, tough, you know, fighting Batman, boxer Batman, if you want to call him, just a big, brutal Batman. And now we're kind of taking the reins back into the younger Batman, you know, with Robert Pattinson being a little bit of a more lean, kind of, you know, kind of quick, kind of, but still kind of strong, you know, very early in his crime fighting career. So I'm just really hoping that this just becomes the ultimate Batman movie that we've kind of been waiting to see for quite a while.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think we're already getting like a good start because we're getting villains. So we're getting the Riddler, who we haven't seen since Batman Forever. We're getting the Penguin, which we haven't seen. I mean, if you don't count Gotham, of course, because that was a TV show.
Oh, Gotham's great.
Gotham's a great show, but we're actually getting a Penguin villain too, first time since Batman Returns with Michael Keaton. And then we're also getting Catwoman, another rendition, which Zoe Kravitz looks like probably the most comic accurate Catwoman we've seen to date.
Oh, definitely.
The Riddler, we're actually, I think, getting a really like actual comic accurate Riddler too. Jim Carrey did a phenomenal job, I think, with Batman Forever. Problem with Batman Forever was it didn't feel like a Batman movie. It felt like a box office movie that they were doing in the 90s. It was very 90s, you know, like lighthearted type stuff. And Jim Carrey still did a great job, but I think now we're getting an actual kind of comic accurate villain. I think like the great thing that I'm liking from the Batman, I like what you said there with the Christopher Nolan trilogy with the Batman. And while The Dark Knight to me is the greatest, not only one of the, like to me, the greatest comic book movie outside of Logan that's ever existed, but I think it's one of the greatest films of all time. I think it's the perfect kind of, because they did it based on a story with Batman and Joker. And I don't think anybody can ever do a story as accurate as how they got it with Batman and Joker there. The Dark Knight perfectly kind of ensembled what it was with Batman and Joker, the perfect kind of foils to each other. This one, the Batman though, they're not doing the Joker again, which I like. We already had two versions. Yeah, we've already had two versions of the Joker. Actually, three if you count, you know, Jared Leto's Suicide Squad, and then we have the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix. And even though I think it will be cool at some point if we do get, you know, some type of mention of the Joker, or the Joker does get revealed as a villain at some point, I do like the way they're starting out here with we're going to get the Riddler. It looks like from the trailers and from the trailer breakdowns that we're getting, the Riddler and Bruce Wayne had some kind of relationship when they were kids. It looks like, or some kind of relationship, when they were younger. And it looks like the Waynes his parents may be involved in some possible illicit activity. And then, of course, we're getting the Penguin, Colin Farrell's Penguin, who looks like he's kind of, more of like a supporting character. And I think I mentioned that before on another episode that we did. I'm really looking forward to them doing an actual kind of like Batman universe.
Yes.
Like we have the DC universe, we have the Marvel universe. I think Batman, because he has such a rogue gallery of villains, he has so many villains that we really need a Batman with his own universe. So I think like in this movie, not only Riddler's confirmed, Penguin's confirmed, Catwoman's confirmed. Hopefully we maybe get some mentions of some other villains there, like maybe Bane, Poison Ivy, maybe not them directly, but maybe the mention of their characters or some point, or Mr. Freeze or somebody like that. We'll get an actual mention of that. And it kind of opens them up to be kind of in this new universe with Robert Pattinson. So I'm really excited for it. And I think like the big thing with this movie as well is I think we're getting more towards like the crime detective type Batman that we're so familiar with in the comic books. So this is going to be, I think, the most comic accurate Batman that we've ever seen on screen. Matt Reeves is an incredible director.
Oh yes.
He's done incredible work. So I think I'm really hyped up for this movie. I have a lot of high expectations for it. And I really hope it delivers. And so far, I mean, the Bat and the Cat trailer, that was the most revealing trailer we got, and it looked insane. It looked so good.
My God, that trailer was... I rewatched it so many times already, just for that last shot of Batman just going ham on those two guys, like with using the gun as a bat, and just that was like the most Batman thing I've seen outside of like the Arkham games. And one of the things that I really like about this movie is that it really looks a lot like, I don't know if you've ever played it, but like kind of like the Telltale Batman series, where it was like it even involves around the same type of plot. Like in the Telltale series, it revolves around like a certain corruption behind Bruce Wayne's parents. Penguin's involved in it, Catwoman's involved with it. It is kind of almost the same story, where it involves Bruce Wayne's parents, being corrupt, and there was like this whole history between him, Thomas Wayne, and the Falcones and all this stuff. And it's kind of looking like it's going to be the same type of thing. I don't necessarily think that it's going to go the exact same route as it did in the game, because in the game, spoilers if you haven't played the Telltale Batman series, but in the game, Thomas Wayne was responsible for Penguin's mom being transferred over into Arkham Asylum, even though she wasn't actually crazy. And it was only he only did it because he was in cahoots with Falcone, because Falcone was, obviously making him rich and all this stuff. With this movie, I don't know if they're going to necessarily go that route. I think what they could do is just do something kind of similar to that. I don't think they're going to involve Penguin's mom or anything like that, considering he's only a supporting character, but it could have something to do with maybe Riddler's backstory instead. And I think what that could also lead to is that there could also possibly be a mentioning of the Court of Owls, possibly. I think every single Batman fan just really wants there to be a Court of Owls storyline just already, in something Batman related. I know we're going to get it in Gotham Knights later on this year, but we're just kind of hungry for some Court of Owls content, It's like you said before, this Batman has a potential to have his own universe and his own rogues gallery of villains, because there are so many villains that either we haven't seen before or that we haven't seen since the 90s or the 80s and all that stuff. Like, considering a bad job that they did with Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy.
Yeah, we need another Mr. Freeze for sure.
Imagine Matt Reeves doing an actual Mr. Freeze storyline akin to the Batman animated series. Like, how heartbreaking that would be, but also how beautiful it can be. And like if we get Mr. Freeze and a Poison Ivy, like another team up between them, that would be so dope. Actually see them get justice for their characters. That would be absolutely dope. One character that I would want to see is like Hush. I want to see Hush in there.
Hush would be a good one. Yeah.
Mad
Hatter's another character that we could we've never gotten on screen.
Yeah,
And
Mad Hatter.
Matt Hatter's somebody. Matt Hatter's somebody. It's like in Spider-Man, like, and that's why I like what they did with like Homecoming. Is we got kind of like these little, you saw Scorpion, for tidbit. We
Hmm.
saw like, we saw Prowler. We got mentions of them. Inside the universe. I think that like they would do Batman so much justice. We're able to maybe even get like a mention, or they do appear in like some shape or form, even if they're not big villains. Because Matt Hatter was never really, a massive villain. There was definitely episodes in like the animated series and of course in the comics where there were comics dedicated to him like every villain, but he's not one of the major villains. You could have him somewhere. He's one of the criminals that's kind of working for, or kind of in cahoots, or he's kind of part of the storyline of, a Riddler, a Joker, or a Mr. Freeze, or somebody. It kind of leads down that road. But I definitely I want them to do another Mr. Freeze.
Hmm.
Who else do I want them to do? There's I wouldn't mind them doing another shot at Scarecrow too. Scarecrow would be a good one.
I actually do want them to do another shot at Ra's al Ghul in the League of
Yeah, Ra's
Assassins,
would be cool.
but
I don't think they will, because I think Christopher Nolan kind of that trilogy really kind of touched on that story.
there
So
was
I think Matt Reeves will do a different direction probably, but I do want to see an actual more comic accurate Ra's.
there was a tweet that I had made one time talking about like what I would want from Ra's if they do like that kind of story again. But let me see if I can find that, because I remember saying that they should do another Ra's al Ghul in League of Assassins, but also involve Talia al Ghul and get another love story between them, like a proper love story. Because I feel like in The Dark Knight Rises, I don't think they did it well, especially with Talia just like dying right in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Let me see.
I think another villain that I think we're looking over that I think would be really kind of popular would be Deathstroke too. I think having him,
Yeah, Deathstroke would be cool too.
yeah, having Deathstroke at some point, maybe trying to like assassinate and kill Batman, like Batman gets a bounty put on his head or something like that. But I think that the top villain I definitely want to see, definitely the Riddler is, and we're getting him in the first movie, and then Mr. Freeze. I think those are the two top ones I'm really looking forward to.
And I think the way that they could go about having all of these villains be in the same universe and yet still be in 3 movies is that they could go the long Halloween route, where it's like not, all of these villains are going to appear, but at the same time, they don't all have like a big role to fill or anything like that. Like Joker is in the Long Halloween, if you didn't know that he's in the Long Halloween,
yeah, he is.
but he only has like a very minor role in it. Like he's not the main villain of the Long Halloween. But, I want to see them do Court of Owls. I want to see them do Talia again. I want to see Mr. Freeze. I want to see Poison Ivy, and everyone's already trying to fan cast Poison Ivy as well. I'm like, guys, we haven't even had a confirmation that she's going to be in this trilogy. But
yeah,
people want to see her like really badly, because I think also just because they want to see the dynamic between her and Catwoman as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that would be really cool to kind of have. And I think like Poison Ivy is definitely somebody Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy since Batman and Robin, we've kind of been wanting that like kind of an actual more comic accurate kind of take on them.
At least just like, a good representation of them.
A good representation, yeah. Because Arnold Schwarzenegger is Mr. Freeze. Come on, man. Like,
time to kick some ice.
chill now.
Chill.
Like chill. Like it's like, what are y'all doing?
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
I know, man. Like it's totally hilarious to look back at it, but the movie's so bad, and Mr. Freeze I think deserves like a better like story than that. As a primary villain too, like I think he should be like what we're getting with Riddler now. I think we're getting. Jim Carrey did a good Riddler, and
he did do a good Riddler, but he was
just in the wrong tone of a movie,
It was also kind of too over the top.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because the whole point of Riddler is that he's trying to test Batman and go against him, by proving that he is smarter than him. Like he's a real enemy to not just Batman, but Batman's intelligence, which is literally Riddler's entire character. And that was something that, obviously was definitely lacking from Jim Carrey's performance. Like he wasn't trying to prove that he was smarter or anything like that. I could be wrong. I haven't seen Batman Forever in a long time. But with this Riddler, it's just like it's also so dark because it's, they're obviously basing him off of like the Zodiac killer and all that stuff. And it's just something that you wouldn't have ever thought of, but it makes sense at the same time. Like how did we not think of a Riddler in the style of the Zodiac killer? Like that totally makes sense. And I think that is also what's going to happen in this Batman, is that Riddler is definitely going to try to be an enemy towards Batman's intelligence, like trying to prove him wrong, trying to prove that Riddler is the smarter one and all this stuff. And I think that's what's the most exciting about it, because, we always see it in the Arkham games and all this stuff. People make jokes like, where are the Riddler trophies in the movie and all this stuff? And I'm like, it's whatever. But at the same time, I'm just like, I do still want that character of Riddler that, obviously, I don't think he's going to have the Jim Carrey-esqueness of him, but still just somebody that is an enemy towards Batman's own intelligence. That's just what I want.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's what we're looking like we're going to get is, that Zodiac-type killer, which is going to force Batman to be this more detective-like character that he was back in the comics. And
like you said...
Paul Dano's also, he looks like he's
Paul Dano's a fantastic actor. If you haven't seen Prisoners, watch Prisoners, and you will see that he is totally Riddler material. If you haven't seen Prisoners, it's such a good film.
He looks like he's a perfect cast for the character. I'm super excited to kind of see his take on that. And it's a fresh take of Riddler, because I think a lot of people were like, once we had the Joker, I think in the Dark Knight, and then after Heath's unfortunate passing, they had to go a different direction with The Dark Knight Rises. A lot of people were like, we want Johnny Depp as the Riddler. We want a Riddler or whatever. Mm-hmm. And Christopher Nolan we kind of already did like a psychological character that Batman had to like fight up against. Let's do somebody that's a little bit more like brute, like a Bane. That's what I'm thinking. Like in this trilogy, like I think like starting out, we do like do the Riddler, a psychological character that, gonna force his mind, and then in the second movie we get like a Mr. Freeze or somebody that can kind of technically in a way kind of overpower Batman in some ways, like because the ice he's gonna freeze him or whatever. You have to find a way to beat this guy, because he has probably more tech and more gadgets than you, and he knows how to kind of like thwart you in that way. While the Riddler's thwarting Batman's mind, we'll have another character. And I don't want them to do Bane again. I think we got Bane in the Dark Knight Rises.
We got enough Bane, I think.
Yeah, we got enough Bane. If they do Bane again, I won't mind, in some shape or form. I think that would be cool.
I think if they do Bane again, that they have to make him like the big hulking Bane again. Like Tom Hardy was menacing because he got jacked for the role, but I think we're missing the venom infused Bane, just a huge, just like breaking his back, just kind of like picking him up with one hand or something like that.
Yeah, just a massive guy. But it's like what you said. I think I really think this is going to touch on new characters here. Mm-hmm. Like I said, right now we're getting two characters that we haven't seen in almost 20 plus years. Like we haven't seen the Penguin or the Riddler in cinema on the big screen in 20 plus years.
We haven't seen Penguin in 30 years in
now it's going to be 30 years for the Penguin. Yeah. And Danny DeVito did I think a great job for what that universe was in the Batman Returns.
For what it was. He did a good job.
Yeah. And I think Colin Farrell, I think he's going to be terrific. And I think having the Penguin there and him already kind of just, we're showing him as like, he's kind of just a background villain. I think that opens the door for like other like characters to pop up. Like I hope we Harvey Dent is somewhere in this universe, whether he becomes Two-Face or doesn't become Two-Face, but he's somewhere, in the universe, Poison Ivy, she's somewhere in the universe. We get like a mention of her, and like I said, eventually, if Pattinson's Batman goes past 3 movies, which, me and you, like, we really hope like for something like that to happen where we get kind of an extended kind of universe here with them. He eventually goes toe to toe with the Joker at some point, like the Joker, we see like the Joker may even be existing in this universe at
there some point. There are rumors that he's in this one.
Yeah, there's rumors that he's in this one. And maybe like if we just get a mention of the Joker, we don't actually see him, but we get a mention that, the Joker does exist. He exists here in this universe,
One thing that I don't want them to do, however, is that I don't want them to do Joker as the second movie again. Like if they're gonna do Joker, even though I don't want them to do Joker, if they're gonna do Joker, they should save him for the last movie. I want them to save him for the last movie.
If they do Joker, I think Joker, they need to do it with multiple villains. I think he like, of course he's going to be the primary villain because he's Joker.
They can do an like an Arkham Asylum type situation where Joker's the main villain and then Batman has to go against.
You have Black Mask, and then you can have Deathstroke, at some point, and then you can have maybe like a character like Hush in there, at some point too, where we're getting, Batman's fighting like a kind of a rogue gallery because. The thing is, I think they can put Joker in a movie now, and we don't need like a backstory, kind of like how they did with the Dark Knight. And we don't even need him to just be the only villain. Like I said, Spider-Man's kind of proved that to us, like Spider-Man Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home. We got multiple villains there, and they were able to do it because people going into this movie, they kind of know who the Riddler is. They know who.
Like we know these characters. Like we don't need some origin story or anything like that.
We don't need an origin story to kind of like go over them. Like we kind of we're aware of what they are, and like when you mention them, it's gonna be like, oh wow, no. Like, and I think that's what I think a lot of these Marvels definitely got down. And I think Matt Reeves, knows what he's doing too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Especially with these next 3 movies. So I think we're gonna kind of get. Introductions to characters. I think there's a lot of, I'm looking at the cast right now. There's a lot of people that I'm seeing like on here. I see Matthew McConaughey. There's a rumor that he's like Harvey Dent supposedly in this universe.
Oh, I've heard that rumor.
Yeah. I don't know if he's actually going to be in it, like, cause it's IMDb. So I'm only seeing J.K. Simmons is somewhere in this supposedly.
Apparently somewhere in there playing an alternate Gordon.
An alternate Gordon, right? We have Barry Keoghan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. He was in Eternals.
Who is apparently rumored to be Joker.
I don't want him to be Joker.
I actually, to be honest, because of I saw the Green Knight recently, and he was in that movie, and he actually kind of proved that he can do Joker. He actually can. He really can.
He's already got like a name in the movie though, Stanley Merkel. That's already you can't give Joker a name. Like Joker, that's what made The Dark Knight so great. The Joker doesn't really have an origin story. I mean, we've gotten comic books explaining his origin story before in certain ways. And those are classic comic books, don't get me wrong, like The Killing Joke.
But he always said, even in The Killing Joke, he always said, if you're going to have a past, make it multiple choice. In the same comic that is explaining his origin.
Yeah. The thing with Joker, he appeared in Batman 1, and that's where The Dark Knight kind of really grabbed so much inspiration. That's what makes The Dark Knight so great. This dude doesn't have a backstory. He's just how he is. Like, if Batman exists in some world, he has to exist. That's what makes the Joker so special. So they give the Joker any type of name, any type of like backstory, just don't do him at all. Like
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I just don't even want them to do Joker at all, because I'm like, we literally already had a Joker movie 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever.
Yeah, and you don't want to overdo it.
Yeah, like I feel like we're just gonna start getting like oversaturated with Joker stuff, and
Batman Joker all the time.
Yeah, like we had Jared Leto's Joker in 2016, and then we get Joaquin Phoenix's Joker in 2019, which is which to me it's a great movie. I don't get me wrong, I really liked the Joker movie, and I loved Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal as it. And then Jared Leto comes back in Zack Snyder's Justice League again. And then it's like it just feels like we're getting just too much of him at this point, where it's like I feel like people rely too much on the Joker to be his greatest enemy, that's why we don't get enough material in movies with his other rogues gallery to give them a time to shine. Because there are people, I remember seeing people online saying like, you can't have Batman without the Joker, and I'm like, you can't, but in a movie trilogy that only has 3 movies to tell a story, if you're doing Joker again, it feels redundant unless you're doing a different type of Joker. Because Heath's Joker was a great like mobster Joker, like he was a great, like he wasn't crazy or anything like that. Like he just wanted anarchy, he just wanted chaos and all this stuff, and that works for Christopher Nolan's universe.
But
I feel like if we really want a proper true Joker to go against Batman, we need that type of Joker that is psychological, that is homicidal, that is just like crazy, you know? Like,
Well, the Joker in the Dark Knight was very psychological, though, too.
but I mean, like, he's
in the Dark Knight,
fucking bonkers.
Well,
you know what I mean?
yeah. The more comic, well, because Heath didn't. I don't necessarily think he did like a comic accurate Joker. He did his own take, and he did his own thing. He did a perfect kind of like rendition of like, well, staying true to the comic, like staying true to the character, but like made it for that universe, which was perfect for like Christopher Nolan's like kind of grounded, realistic trilogy. He kind of perfectly like kind of inserted himself as this like that type of villain, which everybody fell in love with. But I think with this, with the Batman, we can get more of like a Mark Hamill like animated like series, or like a actual more comic book accurate Joker in it if they do decide to do it. But that's why I'm saying if they're gonna do the Joker, it has to be. I think they need to like have it with multiple enemies, like maybe have him, you know, maybe with a team up with Harley Quinn or something like that, going up against Batman.
Like I said, just kind of have it be like an Arkham Asylum type situation. I think that's what they were.
I hope we don't just get 3 movies though. Like I know we're just getting a trilogy, but I hope they're. That's the thing. What I'm saying with Batman, I think to get like the full gauge of like his story, you need at least like a good like 6 movies to tell. Kind of like how we're getting with Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
That's what I was about to say. Like Tom Holland has 3 movies. Hey, he's got his own trilogy, and then also
Sony wants to do another one.
Yeah, and then adding on that they want another trilogy with him, and then adding on that he was in 3 Avengers movies. You know, and so at that point we're gonna have 9 appearances with Tom Holland Spider-Man. So at the same time, it's like when you do another Spider-Man trilogy, you always have to think, what haven't they done yet? You know, because it's like that was kind of the issue with Amazing Spider-Man 2, is that like you had a chance for Electro to be the shining villain of the movie, but then at the end they tack on Green Goblin, which we've already had in the first movie. Meanwhile, in Tom Holland's trilogy, we got Vulture, we got Shocker, we got Prowler, we got, you know, Scorpion, we got Mysterio, we got Chameleon, we got all these minor characters showing up, or all these villains showing up as minor characters, and then even in the third movie, we got Green Goblin back, and they do it better than how they did it before. You know what I mean? And so they can take a page from Spider-Man's book and do it where it's like, maybe we get this one trilogy as Pattinson starting out his crime fighting career, and then maybe we can get another trilogy that maybe some time has passed, and then we get him in his prime, like kind of like Kevin Conroy Batman in Arkham Asylum or something along those lines, where he has maybe an even bigger rogues gallery and has even more villains, probably even other villains that we haven't seen on screen before, you know, like Hush, or like Calendar Man, or Going Court of Owls, or something along those lines.
Deathstroke.
You know,
they can do a Two-Face again, you know,
they can do like they have their own version of their own Suicide Squad or something like that. Have Batman go against them or something along those lines.
Yeah, you could have because I don't think, my prediction is I don't think Riddler's gonna die.
No, I think what they're gonna do is that I don't think they're gonna be killing any villains. I think it's he's going to Arkham, and he'll stay there.
Riddler will be in Arkham, and I think maybe like on the 3rd or 4th movie, you do something like a Sinister Six thing where you can do like a Riddler, you know, and then you can have maybe like a, you know, Riddler, Penguin, Two-Face, you know, and then maybe a couple other villains who kind of like meet themselves up in Arkham, you know, and stuff like that.
Which is what I'm saying. Like you can have all these characters show up as minor characters, you know, villains showing up as minor characters, and then like you said, Sinister Six it at the end. And I would say, like I said, make it like Arkham Asylum.
A proper Robin too. Like I hope this we get like some type of like where we get an actual legit like Batman and Robin movie, you know. And I think that's where you honestly you could honestly kind of put in the Joker there, because Joker initially kills Jason Todd, Robin.
Yeah, but you can't have Jason Todd without Dick Grayson at the same time.
Yeah, true. So I mean, they could switch it up. You know, he kills Dick Grayson. You know, he kills Batman's sidekick. You know, and
that was the plan for Ben Affleck's Batman. That it wasn't Jason Todd that Joker killed. It was Dick Grayson that Joker killed.
Yeah, and that's we'll get in that a little bit because that's kind of disappointing that we never got to see like what he would have, what Batfleck would have done. There's so many villains that they can do, and I hope it's like what we did with Spider-Man. We get a bunch like these, at least these first two movies. We get villains that we haven't seen on screen before. We get introductions to villains that we haven't kind of been. Even in this movie, like we don't know yet. Like the Batman, like we could be introduced to characters that we haven't seen on screen before. Like we may get like something, maybe Barry Keoghan, instead of maybe being Joker, he's Mad Hatter, maybe,
that would make even more sense.
Yeah, like maybe he's that character, that may be one of my predictions. Like honestly, Matthew McConaughey, they're rumored to be in it. Like just make him a mention that he's Harvey Dent, like he's not actually Two-Face. They have a lot of casting on here, like rumors, like it's crazy. It's gonna be crazy if some of these guys like actually show up in the movie.
And what I also am excited for, to be honest, is also getting a proper, I don't know if it's going to be a proper love story, but I think there is still a love story in the center of it, of this Batman, between Batman and Catwoman, because I don't like Anne Hathaway's Catwoman. Like, I just don't feel like she did anything, like, other than saving him at the end from Bane, but like, I just don't, she didn't capture what Catwoman was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely think Zoe Kravitz already has done just from the trailers. She kind of looks like
Kyle. I like her Catwoman more than Anne Hathaway already. We haven't even seen the movie.
Yeah, we haven't seen the movie. Just kind of the way she is. Like you can't like, and even like, and I liked it in the trailer too. Like when Alfred's like, is a friend of yours, and Batman's like,
I'm not sure.
Really. Yeah, not really. Yeah, not sure. Like he's just kind of like, I'm not like too like you literally can't trust her. Like. The Catwoman, and they tried to make her like that, I feel like, in The Dark Knight Rises, but it just didn't work. It didn't work with Bane. Like I think they kind of just threw Catwoman in there as like namesake, to have her in there. That way they had like another villain other than Bane in there that could draw like a crowd, because Talia is going to be like the villain behind the scenes, but Talia doesn't have a lot of name recognition like a Catwoman does.
Yeah.
This movie though, we get Penguin and Riddler, and Penguin's more of a supporting character. Riddler's going to be the main villain, and then Catwoman is kind of like she's completely on the side, but Batman at some point looks like he's going to need her help and with doing some stuff, and you could tell that she's kind of interested in him as well. That she has some type of
I think she
interest.
Could be playing both sides.
Yeah, and that's what Catwoman does. I think that's the beautiful thing about Catwoman, and I think Zoe Kravitz is going to do a freaking bang up job. Also, Robert Pattinson's Batman looks like he's freaking vicious. Like every trailer
he looks so unhinged.
Yeah, he looks like just angry at the world. Like it's going to be odd. Like I said, this is going to be the most comic accurate from the trailers from what I've seen, comic accurate Batman we've ever gotten.
Even that one shot from the second trailer where he pushes the dude onto like the pillar thing, and he's like shocking him, like the look in his eyes, like he wants to kill him, but he lets him go, and I'm just like, man, dude, like he is on edge. He is out here to like brutally get some medical bills out of these dudes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think the thing that gets me on the second Batman trailer too is when he's like beating that dude in front of Cat, and even Catwoman's like, "Whoa, she's like,
dude, what the hell?"
Yeah,
like,
he's just like beating her. Yeah, constantly beating, and she's like, "Whoa!" I like in the Bat and the Cat trailer. She's like, "What does she say?" She's like, "Okay, vengeance." Like,
yeah, she calls him vengeance. I'm like, all right, stop making me like you. Stop making me like you, Zoe.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's gonna be so dope. Yeah, but it's gonna be. I have very high expectations.
Yeah,
super high expectations.
Literally, my expectations are through the roof, because also this is like also this is the most beautiful Batman movie I've ever seen. Like I was saying, if you guys haven't seen the Book of Boba Fett episode that we just did, totally not recording this in the same night. But we were talking about that the cinematographer for Book of Boba Fett or not Book of Boba Fett, but of The Mandalorian in some of the episodes, and the cinematographer of Rogue One is Greg Fraser, who is doing the cinematography for who he did the cinematography for Dune, and he's doing the cinematography for Batman. Dune, we've already established that it's one of the best looking movies ever made. Like I know, Jack, you said it's the most beautiful looking movie you've ever seen.
Yeah, it's like up there, like Lord of the Rings. Like,
Yeah.
even if you don't like Dune, like you don't like the story, you're not into it. Like, it's not because it's not everybody's cup of tea. Of course, it's kind of like it's more of a really a sci-fi kind of epic type movie.
If you like Star Wars, I think you'll if you like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, you'll definitely like Dune.
Yeah, I think if you're really into sci-fi stuff, you'll really like Dune. I liked Dune. I didn't fall in love with it, but the one thing that
I did.
yeah, there's a lot of people. No, and I totally understand people falling in love with it too. The cinematography on it was
It's
literally it's the
beautiful.
greatest I've ever seen outside of Lord of the Rings. Like those are just movies. Like even if you're not into the story and you just watch the movies, you're just like, wow,
Yeah.
like the way they shot this is just absolutely incredible. Like even if I think even if you don't like the movies, if you're like repulsed by them, you have to like even admit like, wow, this
Still a beautiful
cinematography is
looking
crazy.
movie, you know?
Yeah, it's a beautiful looking movie. I kind of get that, like with the Batman is like we're getting the dark, gritty, like weird, like dark vibes of Gotham.
It's so like noir, you know, noir driven.
Yeah, it feels like Gotham City. It feels like a combination of Michael Keaton's Gotham City,
Yes.
where we kind of had like that gothic kind of cartoony tone mixed with like Christopher Nolan's kind of realistic
Realism.
tone. Yeah, it kind of mixes it together and it creates like this own like type of universe,
It's
like straight from the comic book.
it's like if Christopher
Crazy.
Nolan's universe took Michael Keaton's universe and made it realistic, you know? I feel like
Mhm.
also I think they also took inspiration from like Blade Runner.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I
Like-
could see that.
Like if you see that one shot of the Gotham skyline, not the one where Batman's on the building, but there's one shot where it's like panning down and you see kind of like it almost looks like a Times Square-esque, you know, kind of version of Gotham, and it's like billboards and all this stuff. It has a Blade Runner feel to it. Even there's this one shot where it's following Robert Pattinson's Batman from the back, like he's walking through a crowd, and it has total Blade Runner vibes, which is cool because Greg Fraser, like I said, he did cinematography for Dune. Dune was directed by Denis Villeneuve, and he directed Blade Runner 2049. So
yeah, no,
connections there.
Yeah, the connection is there. Yeah, and I noticed that too. It did give like that kind of futuristic type vibe. That's crazy because I don't know if you remember like the Batman cartoon.
The animated
It's like-
series?
The animated series, yeah. I feel like it's drawing a lot of inspiration from that too, because that was also a younger Batman at the time. And
yeah, because that was something that like I remember seeing a lot of behind the scenes stuff like with Gotham, like the show Gotham. Like they purposefully made it to where you couldn't tell what time frame the show took place because they wanted Gotham to look like very like timeless. Like you could think it takes place in the 40s or it could take place in the now
future.
in the future. You know, it could take place in whatever time you think that it wants to take place in.
that's
But
the way I get the vibe from the Batman, the
Yeah.
Batman cartoon.
And but the thing is like I think they're very much going for a mix of not knowing what time it takes place, but at the same time, you know, it still takes place at least in the present because like when the shot of the guy coming out of the car at the funeral has a phone in his hand and it's a literal iPhone, it's FaceTime, and you know Batman does that, and then the billboards look so futuristic like Blade Runner-esque. So at least we're getting something where it doesn't look. At least we have like a certain time frame as to when this takes place.
For sure, yeah, and it's so far everything that they've showed right now has got like all of us hyped. All three trailers I was in love with, all of them, especially the most recent one with like the Bat and the Cat trailer. That was like, oh my god, that's what we needed right there. If that confirms anything, like
that Bat and the Cat trailer is honestly what made me be like, you know what, there's no other movie that I'm hyped for except for this movie, and I will not be hyped for anything else until this movie comes out.
Yeah, thankfully we're getting it before the Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah, so, thankfully it was supposed to come out the same month too.
Yeah, we're getting. Yeah, that would have been. Oh my god, that would have been like overload. Like then like too much. Like
I can't handle this right now. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm getting like way like I'm getting like this is literally the greatest like month of my life. So I'm glad we're kind of getting like a little bit of a split right there. But yeah, no, this like we've repeated here. It's going to be one of the best, and the castings are perfect. I mean, Jeffrey Wright, James Gordon. I don't think you get a better casting than that. Andy Serkis
when they
as
announced
Alfred.
him, when they announced both of them as Gordon and Alfred, I was like, perfect.
Perfect.
Those are. I love Jeffrey Wright in Westworld, and I love Andy Serkis in anything.
Jeffrey Wright's the Watcher, man. Like
dude, yes,
yeah. He has like kind of embodies like Jim Gordon to me. It's going to be really interesting here, and it looks like it looks like already. You know, we're kind of getting like we're not getting like well, I'm sure we'll get somewhat of a little bit of origin story from Batman, but it already looks like he's already been like a year in crime fighting here, and he's already working with Gordon as opposed with Christopher Nolan's Batman with the Batman Begins. Like he's kind of like leading up to that. They don't know if he's a friend or a foe. It looks like here the Batman, they're kind of already allying with him, but at some point, you know, like the cops are kind of like the Riddler's going to go on his rampage, and they're going to be like, you know, we don't.
Maybe it's not a good idea.
Yeah, maybe team up Batman is not a good idea. So it's gonna be an interesting dynamic. I'm really excited where they're gonna go with this story. I'm also excited. Hopefully, like I said, I think Matt Reeves knows what he's doing. I think he knows what like the fans are looking for too.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what to bring to this universe, and I think he knows we're getting a new trilogy with Pattinson here, so I think it's going to be really, he's going to really deliver here on what we're looking for, and I think get that introduction to like all these new Rogue Gallery villains that we're looking for. Another thing that I think we want to kind of move on here a little bit is kind of going outside of what Pattinson's trilogy is going to be, because we have even more stuff with Batman with the new Flashpoint coming out. Yeah, oh yeah, dag nabbit, man. More Batman stuff, really?
I mean, not in that way, but I mean, like, to kind of turn it away from something we are excited about to turn it to something that we're actually hoping doesn't happen. It's that, you know, if you guys don't know, there's a new Flash movie coming out, I think in like November of this year.
I kind of disagree with him on this one.
I kind of hate that this is happening, but so far right now, the rumor is that in the new Flash movie, they're going to be taking inspiration from Flashpoint. If you guys don't know what Flashpoint is, basically it is this huge event in the comics where Flash goes back in time to go save his mom from dying, and then when he comes back, he accidentally comes back into a new timeline where instead of Bruce Wayne surviving his parents dying, instead Bruce Wayne dies in this timeline. Thomas Wayne becomes Batman that uses guns and kills, and then his mom becomes the Joker. And then also in this universe, Wonder Woman sleeps with Aquaman, and then Mira finds out about the affair. Wonder Woman cuts Mira's head off, and then the Amazons and the Atlanteans go to war with each other. Cyborg is also the president's advisor, and some other stuff happens that I don't remember. But basically what this is that Flash comes into this new timeline, and now he's trying to figure out how to get back to his old timeline. And in doing so, what he does is that when he comes back into the new timeline, or back to his old timeline, he accidentally creates this brand new universe, this brand new timeline, where everything is basically reset. So in the comics, when Flashpoint happens, basically that's what made the New 52 happen, which is how we got all of these new comic books with all these new origins, all new stories, and all this stuff, featuring the characters we already know. And in the animated movies, they also did the movie of the Flashpoint Paradox. And when that happened, that created this entire new universe of animated movies that has already ended with Justice League Dark versus, or Justice League Dark Apocalypse, I think it's what it's called. But basically, they use Flashpoint as this way of basically resetting the universe and kind of starting at the very beginning, which is what we had already been theorizing was going to happen with the new Flash movie. That in some way, this was going to be resetting a lot of stuff that's not very clear on what DC is doing. Like, we don't know what's going on with Snyder. We don't know what's going on with any of the new solo stuff that's happening. And we really just want a clear picture as to what DC is doing and moving forward with their universe from here on out. But the rumor is right now is that in the Flash movie, they are going to be erasing Batman's, Ben Affleck's Batman, and as well as Henry Cavill's Superman, and instead bringing in Batgirl and Supergirl to be filling in Batman and Superman's roles, which I don't have an issue with. The issue I have is that they're basically just erasing Henry Cavill's Superman that didn't really have a chance to shine other than Man of Steel. And in Batman vs. Superman and Justice League, it still feels like his role got very reduced, you know, with every movie that came out. And then now we're just not going to get any more movies with him all of a sudden. So that's the only issue that I have with this thing. I'm perfectly fine with Batgirl and Supergirl taking over their positions, because I actually am excited to see Supergirl Sasha Kaya, and as well as I think her name's Leslie Grace, I want to say.
Yeah, Leslie Grace is going to be Barbara Gordon.
Yeah, Leslie Grace is going to be playing Batgirl, and I'm excited for her to play Batgirl. I'm excited to see what she does with it. And then also the thing that's also kind of confusing is that in the Batgirl movie, instead of it being Ben Affleck's Batman, it's going to be Michael Keaton's Batman, who is appearing in the Flash movie anyway. And Ben Affleck's Batman is going to be in the Flash movie as well, which I understood was going to happen because they were going to have to send him off in some way, shape, or form. But like I said before, I kind of already made my peace with Ben Affleck not being Batman anymore, because he's already said numerous times that he doesn't want to be Batman. But like I said,
he's done.
Yeah, he's totally done with it. But at the same time, like I said, Henry Cavill didn't get a chance to be Superman, the Superman that we all know and love. And I feel like he should have gotten the chance to do so. And it just kind of sucks that WB is just kind of erasing them and, bringing in, Supergirl and Batgirl to fill in their place. Like I said, nothing against that. I think that's actually a cool move. I just wish they wouldn't have to erase his Superman in order to do that.
My whole thing, I'm not too big of a fan of the Supergirl and Batgirl. I mean, I am, but I'm not. Like Supergirl and Batgirl are definitely, I think, important characters to the universe for sure. But I think if you're going to be doing a DC like extended universe, like if you're going to go just like, I think they need to reset it like they did with the New 52, like just completely reset like everything.
That's what I'm saying.
And, just restart it. And my whole thing is, I think they're really missing an opportunity here, because Michael Keaton's supposed to be kind of the mentor to the new Batgirl movie. I think he's been cast in it. I think he's confirmed to be cast in it. They're missing a big opportunity here to do a Batman Beyond movie. They really are.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
I don't know if like Batgirl, maybe they're trying to make her kind of like, Batman Beyond, but that's the thing. Batgirl was never Batman Beyond. Batgirl is in the Batman Beyond like TV show. Like she actually is in it. She's actually has a very big role as the commissioner there. Barbara Gordon's like the commissioner in that universe. So I think they're really missing the mark, especially what the fans want, because the fans really, really, really want a Batman Beyond. And I think you have a perfect opportunity here with Michael Keaton to do that. But like I said, we'll have to see with the Batgirl and the Supergirl, thing. Like I said, it's not the most exciting news for me, even though, I think Supergirl and Batgirl, they're great comic book characters, especially Batgirl. I was always a huge fan of Batgirl, but I think like doing like a reset like that, I think I'd much rather have them do a reset and just do a DC extended universe again, where we got another Superman, where we got another Batman, like where we got an actual, maybe another legit Justice League team up. The one thing I'll say about Henry Cavill Superman, me and you kind of like touched on this before, I think DC really kind of, and part of it was on Christian Bale too. I think like the big thing, like with the whole DCU, they really missed their mark by Christian Bale not like doing Batman anymore. Back when like Marvel was doing their extended universe. Mm-hmm. This is just my opinion, because we had the MCU had come out. It really started in 2008, and by 2012 we had the Avengers movie. 2012, The Dark Knight Rises comes out as well, and so we get that movie and we get the Avengers movie. That was, well, the world was supposed to end that year, and we got the two of the greatest like movies ever. But I think like they really missed the mark there had Christian Bale been able to somehow come back. And I know he wanted to end his story and stuff like that, and that universe is always going to be separate, which I think is okay. That's fine. But I think they really missed the mark there for Henry Cavill Superman to have an impact like he did, because they started everything over with Ben Affleck's Batman. And in a way, I think they kind of, well, I think there was a lot of like politics going on between Zack Snyder and then WB. Like Zack Snyder wanted to make one movie, WB wanted to make another movie. And like when politics get in the way, you don't get the best movie that you possibly could.
Yeah.
That's why I thought if they did like Christian Bale as Batman when the DC extended universe had started, and we kind of just branched off of Christian Bale, like his Batman as kind of the start of all of this, if he appeared in Superman, I think it would still be going on. If Christian Bale had kind of like a Robert Downey Jr. kind of run as Batman, as Robert Downey Jr. had with Iron Man. I think that would have really, really helped with the DC Extended Universe. I think that hurt Superman. I think that hurt Wonder Woman because they tried to reboot and catch up with Marvel so quick.
Yeah.
And they tried to do it in such a short period of time. And the thing is we had literally like when Marvel started in, 2007, 2008, they had multiple movies and they had kind of a plan together. DC didn't come out with that. They hit Superman and then they saw what Marvel. So Henry Cavill Superman came out and then they saw everything that Marvel was doing. They're like, okay, we need to hurry up with our Justice League movie. And
they catch up right now.
Yeah, we need to rush. And in that, we didn't get a good Ben Affleck origin story with Batman, or not even an origin story, but a Ben Affleck Batman movie. Like we never actually got that.
Yeah, that was supposed to be this Batman movie.
Yeah, like the Batman with Robert Pattinson was supposed to be Ben Affleck, but they couldn't agree, and a lot of stuff happened there, and
Ben Affleck doesn't want to do it,
Yeah, Ben Affleck. I mean, that guy does a ton of projects too. Had they just had Christian Bale as Batman, we didn't like. I don't think they would have been playing catch up as much. We would have had already an established character that we had this huge origin story for. We already knew him. We already fell in love with him in this universe. And all of a sudden he's thwarted in, with Superman. He's in the same universe with him. I think that gives you a lot more options there where it's like, okay, now we have 3 Batman movies that we've already done. Christopher Nolan, one of the greatest trilogies of all time. We don't really have to kind of introduce this character or play catch up. He's already there. So now we got Superman. Now we can introduce Wonder Woman in a way. And I think that would have been the better like option for them moving like back then. So that's why I don't really have a problem with the Henry Cavill and the Ben Affleck getting erased necessarily. I don't like them getting replaced by Supergirl and Batgirl, but they went too quick. I think they missed the mark with their Justice League. Like even though Zack Snyder's Justice League I thought was really great, there's just too much politics. There's too much of a rush to get something out there just to compete with Marvel. When I think DC fans, they really want a great story. They really want, to get to know these characters, fall in love with these characters. And like I said, we didn't even get a Ben Affleck solo movie as Batman. We got him against Superman, but we didn't actually get him in an actual movie against any of his like villains. Like I guess we saw it in Suicide Squad a little bit with Deadshot,
The thing is that I wouldn't have necessarily an issue with them replacing Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill if they were going to do the same with Wonder Woman, with Flash, with Cyborg, with Aquaman. If they were going to just start completely new, if they were just going to be like, you know what, Flash is going to reset everything. We're going to have a new Superman. We're going to have a new Batman. We're going to have a new Wonder Woman.
Just recast.
Just recast everyone. Then I would be like, okay, maybe it sounds like they're starting to find their way a little bit. Maybe they have a little bit more of a plan now. Maybe we can start getting some more solo movies, and then we'll get that Justice League team up later on. But at this point, they're still continuing on with the DCEU that they already do have. But now all of a sudden, Ben Affleck's Batman, and Henry Cavill's Superman are just not in it. But yet
it's going to get confusing.
Yeah, it's going to get confusing because now all of a sudden they're bringing in Michael Keaton's Batman.
Yeah. Well, I like them bringing back Michael Keaton's Batman, but like I said,
but they're not doing Batman Beyond.
Yeah, they're not doing Batman. That's the one. I think the one mistake that they're doing, unless Flashpoint, they're maybe misleading us here because fans have been clamoring for the Batman Beyond. Like they really want that to happen. I don't mind the Michael Keaton thing coming back because I think that's really cool. We get to see Michael Keaton come back, and I think it's going to be cool to like revisit his character, especially seeing how his universe and how everything turned out, there with what's going on. But like going kind of like back to the Ben Affleck thing, and I think a lot of these characters like the Aquaman, like Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, these people have contracts that they've signed with DC, so they're in it for a couple more movies, so they can't just erase their characters. That's what's kind of WB's put themselves in a weird situation here where it's like Ben Affleck doesn't want to be Batman anymore, and Henry Cavill, I mean, he would love to play Superman anymore, but if we're not going to have Ben Affleck's Batman, why are we going to have Henry Cavill's Superman? I think that's kind of their whole, because they kind of came up together, honestly, with the Batman versus Superman. But that's why I kind of go back and agree with you. keeping Robert Pattinson separate from this mess.
That's what I'm saying.
What's going
I'm
on
like,
in the DCU. Yeah,
I am
they
so
need
glad.
to,
I'm so glad that Robert Pattinson is not involved in this. Like, if they're gonna do his own universe, that's perfectly fine. But
mhm.
I don't. I'm glad. I'm just glad that they're not involving him in this entire fiasco because, like I said, it goes back to like what we were saying before. It's like if you're gonna erase Batman as Superman, then erase Wonder Woman, erase Flash, erase Aquaman, just start everything over again.
Completely start over, yeah.
Start all over because it's obvious that you don't have faith in the universe that you've already established because you keep making all these changes, in universe and all this stuff. Meanwhile, Marvel is over here making millions and billions because they listen to the fans. They know what we want, and they're like, you want this? All right, boom, we're gonna give it to you. Oh, you didn't like this? All right, we're gonna go ahead and change that up. We're gonna switch it around. Boom, now you like this. It's like Marvel knows how to course correct and move away from the things that fans don't like. Meanwhile, with DC, they just don't listen. It's like if you want a successful universe, yeah, you're gonna have to do what Marvel did, but you just don't have to do it as fast because they only started with one solo movie, and all of a sudden we got a team up movie or versus movie, and then a team up movie, and then we got Justice League. I'm saying this is what I'm just gonna get out of the way right now. After Wonder Woman 84, recast Wonder Woman. I don't care. Start Wonder Woman over again. I don't want it. I don't want it anymore. I don't want it anymore.
That's the thing I'm saying. Well, by the time the Avengers came out, Iron Man had already had 2 movies. He was already.
By the time Man of Steel came out, Iron Man 3 and Thor 2 came out in the same year.
Yes. So Iron Man had already been established like well before the Avengers came out. He had 2 movies, were very successful movies, were really good storytelling movies. Then we had the Incredible Hulk movie, we had the Captain America movie, we had the Thor movie, and then Iron Man, they were able to introduce Black Widow as a supporting character in that movie to help her kind of lead on, with Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. there and Iron Man. So Iron Man had already been fully established as a character right when the Avengers had hit. Captain America, maybe not so much. He had 1 movie. Thor, he had 1 movie. They had their origin story movies, but they weren't like Iron Man had been fully established. How crazy would it have been? You're watching Man of Steel. They have an after credit scene, and you see fucking Christian Bale's Batman like show up on the screen.
It would have been cool. The thing is that
it would have been nuts. And I understand like he didn't want to do it anymore. And
yeah, neither did Christopher Nolan either.
Christopher Nolan didn't have to be attached to the project for him to agree to it.
Yeah, but even Christian Bale was like, I don't want to do like any more.
He didn't want to do it without Christopher Nolan. It was just one of those things. Christian Bale's one of those.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan didn't even want to do The Dark Knight.
Well, he didn't want to do Dark Knight Rises.
No, he didn't want to do The Dark Knight. Like after Batman Begins, he just wanted it to be Batman Begins, but WB was like, no, please come back for a sequel. And he was like, all right, well, I'll make a sequel.
I thought like he was for sure going to do Batman Begins, and he wanted to do The Dark Knight. And then once Heath Ledger passed, he was like, I don't know about The Dark Knight Rises.
No, he was skeptical about doing a sequel to Batman Begins, but then he was finally like, okay, fine, I'll do a sequel to Batman Begins. And then that's when The Dark Knight came about. And they had plans to include Heath's Joker in The Dark Knight Rises, but then obviously he passed away, unfortunately. And then
so they couldn't do that. Yeah,
they couldn't do that.
But yeah, I've seen the things with like Christian Bale. He just didn't want to do it anymore, which is totally fine. But it kind of went all it went downhill because if you would have already had like an established character there, and then you're able to introduce Superman, because the thing with Marvel is they had Iron Man already fully established there. So now it's like, okay, we've kind of told Iron Man's story. We don't need to focus on Iron Man. Iron Man just needs to be part of the Avengers. They did have Iron Man 3, and that was like, meh. Iron Man 3 was unnecessary.
Iron Man 3 is at the bottom of my MCU list.
Yeah, it's way at the bottom. It was an unnecessary movie. They didn't need to have it. But Iron Man was already so established. It's just like, okay, he just needs to be in the Avengers movies now. We know who he is. Like, he just needs to be in the Avengers. Like, boom, 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 boom. Like, he has his story. He has his backstory. Like we know who
he is. We know what is his character, and then he gets even more character development in the Avengers movies, even in the Captain America movie and all that stuff. So they could have done, if Christian Bale wanted to keep going and doing more, yeah, they could have connected it and have it be that he just shows up in, Justice League movies or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, just Justice League or like the Batman versus Superman. We already know who he is. Like this is the Batman that we've seen for the past like 10 years. Like we know this guy, we know what he's capable of, we know like what his gadgets, we know like Michael Caine's there with him, they're like, we gotta stop. Yeah, yeah, we gotta stop this like alien threat or whatever. Kind of like how Ben Affleck's Batman was doing it, and that's what Ben Affleck did a really great Batman. I think like again, it was too rushed. Like Ben didn't get a fair shot. I think Ben got the real short end of the stick here.
What I also think kind of sucked about Ben Affleck's Batman. Don't get me wrong. I love Ben Affleck's Batman. He was actually my favorite Batman until Pattinson got cast. But the thing about Ben Affleck's Batman is that I don't really see any way that you could have kept going with his Batman, because like he's already old. He's already past his prime, or not past his prime, but he's already experienced in all this stuff. So it's hard to keep going with more projects like Justice League or even more Batman solo films while Ben Affleck is still in the fighting shape to be able to do his own stuff,
Yeah.
But,
well, that's the thing. Like with if they would have done, because Christian Bale would have had something like Robert Downey Jr. had, where this dude's he's been the character since 2005. So it's like, okay, we're comfortable. He's done his due. Kind of like how Robert was with Iron Man. He's done his due. Like you're good to go. Ben Affleck, he had 2 movies really. I mean, like where we got to like two actual movies, and it wasn't even his solo movie. Like it doesn't feel like he got a proper, like we didn't get enough like Batman screen time in the Justice League. And the Snyder Cut, we kind of got like an actual good Batman there, but I think he had a lot of bad writing. Like I said, a lot of this has to do with like WB and behind the scenes with Zack Snyder and stuff like that. A lot of the behind the scenes stuff. So we didn't get a proper DC extended universe. Flash, I mean, I'm excited for Michael Keaton's Batman. Like I said, we're going to revisit that character, which is going to be cool. But the reset, I'm not really excited for, especially if you're moving forward with Supergirl and Batgirl, and then you're not going to do Batman Beyond. That's the main reason people want Michael Keaton's Batman to come back, is to be a mentor for Batman Beyond, and you're not even going to do that. Like you're going to have, and I think mentoring Batgirl is cool, but I think the biggest thing with Batgirl was that she's a sidekick with him and Robin. She's a very integral part. Like I would love to see Batgirl in Robert Pattinson's universe, because
that would be dope. Imagine if we got Barbara Gordon. Plus, as well, like they could have done the whole, what was his name again? Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character in The Dark Knight Rises. Oh, I forgot what his name is. When he played the cop.
Oh, he's like
I forgot what his name is, but they could have done like similar to like his whole arc, where it's like they kind of like set her up to be, a crime fighter. The trilogy could have ended on her becoming like Batgirl, or even it being like Bruce Wayne just being like, all right, so I'm going to show you, all of this stuff. The trilogy could have ended off like that or something. But I know everyone wants Robin to come in first, but obviously it's.
Well, I think they could introduce them like both in there. Like they both like Robin and Batgirl could both be in Pattinson's universe, because they fight side by side with Batman. Like that was Batman and Robin did a terrible job of that. Like,
and Barbara and Dick also have some romantic history together.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. You could do that in like Pattinson's like Batman.
It was weird when they did it in Batman and Robin.
Yeah, Batman and Robin was awful. Kind of like have these two characters who are trying to help like this dude, Robert Pattinson, and he's kind of just like definitely reluctant. He's like, no way, like I'm like working with you kids, like type thing, And that's why I'm saying like Pattinson's Batman. I hope we get like we at least get 6 movies, so we can hopefully explore that. At least with Marvel, with the comic stuff, we're staying comic accurate. At least we have that material there. I think the DCU, they're just trying to go off on their own like little tangent thing, which I mean it could work, but at the end of the day, people want to go see Batman. They want to see Batman. They're going to want Batman, Superman on the screen in some shape or form. If you're going to do that.
I think the issue is not that we don't want Batgirl to take over Batman's role. It's just that it's being done so fast. You know what I mean? Like that
too.
You can say, like, for instance, like like what we just had, like Hawkeye and Black Widow. Like we're getting Kate Bishop and Yelena taking over, becoming the new Hawkeye and Black Widow. And it's like, why are we doing that now? Because we've already had Hawkeye, Clint Barton and Natasha
for over 10 years almost now.
Already over 10 years, we've had them in the universe for a long time. Now it's time for the new ones to take over. Meanwhile, over here, it's like we're erasing
movies.
We're erasing Ben Affleck's Batman. We're bringing in a new Batman, and then we're having Batgirl take over. And it's like you're barely doing this. You're already doing this in the span of like less than like 5 years, and Ben Affleck has only been in 2 movies, and they weren't even his own.
Well, Henry Cavill, technically 3 movies for Henry Cavill, but like Captain America, like we had almost 10 years with him. Robert Downey Jr., we almost had 10 years with him, like multiple projects and stuff like that. We didn't get that with Batman and Superman, the two most popular superheroes of all time.
Exactly.
The and 2 most popular superheroes ever.
I think Supergirl is not even necessarily DCEU canon. I think she's supposed to be from another universe or something along those lines. If they're going to be erasing Henry Cavill's Superman, then it has to be for a reason. Like, she's probably from another universe. She's not even main DCEU canon, which Snyder already set up in Man of Steel, that Supergirl exists in this universe, in DCEU.
This is my biggest, like, kind of, like, just downer, is that it doesn't look like ever get Batman Beyond, which that's the reason I wanted them to bring back Michael Keaton. Like, when he was announced in Flashpoint, I was just like, oh, okay, Batman Beyond.
I guess.
Yeah, Batman Beyond's coming. Like, let's do the Flashpoint, and then boom, Batman Beyond. Like, hell yes. And then like now we just get Batgirl, which is kind of a letdown. But maybe they do it in a way. Maybe she is kind of like Batman Beyond. In the Batgirl movie. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe she will be the Terry McGinnis, or something like that. But yeah. I think also as well, it's funny because you mentioned I've never seen Batman Beyond, which I should. But
oh, dude, you're missing out.
Yeah, I know I'm missing out.
Such a good show.
But when you said that Barbara is the commissioner in Batman Beyond, it made me think about Titans, because in the 3rd season of Titans, if you haven't seen it yet, I don't think anybody has seen it. I think I'm the only one that watches it. But in 3rd season of Titans, Barbara comes out in it, and she's the new commissioner.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, but there's no like. Well, I think Gordon's dead. Passed away from like.
Oh yeah, Jim Gordon dies. I haven't seen any of Titans, to be honest.
Honestly, you're not missing out on much. The second season, season is the best one, but even then, it's still like okay. But the 3rd season, I don't know what the hell that was. No, Batman Beyond. For anybody that doesn't know, like what Batman Beyond that's listening to this, it's basically decades after like Bruce Wayne he's fully like retired. Mm-hmm. He's no longer Batman. He's just an old man now. He's kind of like a recluse. He kind of just is complete, kind of like how Christian Bale was in Dark Knight Rises, but he's now completely like just recluse. Old. Like he's just like old, like even older than what Christian Bale was in Dark Knight Rises. Like he's a legit old man now, kind of around the age that Michael Keaton is, coincidentally enough. And he's no longer Batman. And this is set in a future time. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I actually have to rewatch it to kind of get caught back up on it. But basically what happens is this kid, Terry McGinnis, he kind of starts seeing that there's like things going on, that are like corruption here and there or whatever. And somehow or another, he ends up stumbling, or he's getting like beat up or something by it, or he gets like, he's like going out and like trying to like fight some criminals that have like done him wrong. I think they tried to they stole something from his girlfriend or something. I don't remember the actual story, so I'm going to if there's comments on this, they're going to shred me. But Terry McGinnis eventually, like, he gets like kind of ganged up on by these guys, and Bruce Wayne comes out of I guess it's by his like Wayne Manor or whatever, and comes out and like ends up like whipping all these guys' asses or whatever. And Terry McGinnis is like, thank you. And he tries to like follow him or whatever. Bruce Wayne's just like, no. Terry McGinnis ends up discovering the Batcave, and one thing kind of leads after another. Bruce Wayne's kind of reluctant, but eventually ends up training this guy, and Bruce Wayne essentially becomes the Alfred role, and basically kind of is like a mentor to this new Batman that's Terry McGinnis. And it's cool because in Batman Beyond, it's completely set in the future, so they have a lot of interesting tech. Batman
Beyond, he has like these wings that he flies around. They have a lot of cool
Badass
movies.
suit.
Yeah, it's a sick suit. Like I wish we could like show it on here. Like
I'll put it right
the,
here.
the whole story is actually. I remember as a kid I was glued to the TV. I need to rewatch Batman Beyond because it's actually kind of it goes kind of off the animated series, the original Batman animated series, which is one of the greatest like animated series of all time.
It has the same
Batman
style.
Beyond. Yeah, Batman Beyond is kind of like almost like a indirect sequel to that. Almost, it's kind of like a what if, I guess, type story. But it is a incredible story, and they have that's what I'm saying. Like Michael Keaton, that was the original Batman that we had as kids.
Yeah.
The 1989 version. So to have Batman Beyond, like him being like a mentor and taking that Alfred role, which I like I said, we'll get to see in Batgirl, but I feel like they're missing such good storylines and such good like content with like the Batman Beyond story because it's such a unique, fresh take on Batman, and that's why it was so popular. Like when we like in 1999 when I was a kid and Sam Castle hadn't even been born yet.
I was born in 99. I was just born.
He was just born. That's why he hasn't seen Batman Beyond, ladies and gentlemen.
That's why. But I've seen the animated series.
Yeah, but Batman Beyond is like a really fresh take that no one had ever seen on Batman before. Like when that cartoon show had first come out, it was really, really fresh, really fresh. I think that would be a really good fresh. And people were actually kind of mad because they're like, we want Pattinson to be Terry McGinnis. Like it would have been a good casting for him to be Batman Beyond.
I think they could have. I think they would have. If they were going to do Terry McGinnis, I think they should go younger than Pattinson.
Yeah, I think so too. Pattinson looks like he's going to do a really great Batman.
Yeah,
but I think like they have Michael Keaton would be the perfect dude like to do somebody like a younger kid that, like I said, I guess they're trying to do that with Batgirl. Like people want Batman Beyond, they're like, okay, well let's do Batgirl. That way, we kind of maybe do an interesting take on the story here. But like I said, Batman Beyond, you're missing out on a lot of good stories. You need to watch that series. Anybody that's listening to this needs to watch that animated series. It is beyond incredible.
That'll probably be what I watch next. But the last thing that we're gonna do right now is we are going to give our ranking of every single Batman movie. So that's every single Batman movie, including the Dark Knight trilogy, Batman vs Superman,
live action.
Yeah, all live action stuff, including Joker. If I think probably in a later episode we'll also give the animated movies ranked as well, but the thing is that we need to watch all of them.
Yeah, I need to rewatch most of those. A lot of those I haven't seen since I was a kid. I'm just gonna start it out. The Dark Knight is definitely number one.
Well, let's go bottom.
List.
Let's go bottom first.
Bottom first? Okay.
Yeah.
Batman and Robin.
Okay, so Batman and Robin is also my bottom one as well. And then so this next one is gonna get a lot of people mad at me. It got a lot of people mad at me when I put it on Instagram. If you want to follow me at Parasite Tears. After Batman and Robin, my second least favorite is Batman Returns.
Batman Returns is okay. That's not my favorite either.
Okay, look, I rewatched both Keaton movies recently, and I could not stand either of them. I was just like,
you didn't like. I like the original Keaton movie with the Joker.
I couldn't. Like I just couldn't. I kept watching it and I was just like, I want this to end already. Let me see. So for me, that's Batman and Robin last, and then Batman Returns. And then what's your next one?
Batman Forever.
Batman Forever?
Yeah, Batman Forever's terrible.
So
I like Jim Carrey's Riddler. Two-Face was terrible in that movie.
So what's really bad is that I have Batman and Robin and then Batman Returns, and then I have the 1989 Batman.
You have it ranked lower than Batman Forever?
I do.
You are smoking something. You need to get drug tested. You literally need to get drug tested.
Because right after Batman 89 is Batman Forever. I have it a spot above Batman 89.
Oh my god. I totally disagree. Like I didn't like Batman Returns either, but Batman 89 was really good.
Like I said, I rewatched it recently and I just couldn't.
It doesn't hold up now, of course.
It doesn't hold up now. And I didn't grow up with it. Like the movies
I grew up with it, so it's
the Batman movies that I grew up with was Christian Bale. It was The Dark Knight. That was what I grew up with. Or not even that. I grew up with Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. That's what I grew up with. But even then, like Batman 89, like I said, it doesn't hold up. It was a different time back then. I understand why people like it because it's nostalgia filled and all that stuff. But for me, seeing it for the first time, or not the first time, but for the first time in a while, I just no. And then, like I said, after that is Batman Forever, which, like I said, I don't hate it, but I don't like it. Like it's good in some parts. It just goes too much on the comedy aspect of it. Like you said, I don't like Two-Face. I like Jim Carrey's Riddler. That's like probably one of the parts that I really like about it. I thought Dick Grayson was actually not bad. I didn't think he was good, but I didn't think he was terrible. But
He wasn't terrible.
yeah, he wasn't terrible. I liked him. Little known fact for you guys: apparently, Batman Forever and Batman and Robin are also supposed to be in the same universe as Batman and Batman Returns.
Yeah. Of course, I don't think that's going to continue with Flashpoint.
Yeah, I think Flashpoint's going to erase that.
Yeah, complete. Did you know the pitch for the final Batman movie that they were going to do before they rebooted it with Christopher Nolan?
You mean like what Dark Knight Rises was supposed to be?
No.
Oh,
before,
you mean like what was supposed to be?
So they did Batman Begins, but the original pitch was they were going to do a sequel to George Clooney's Batman movie, and basically it was going to be Harley Quinn was. It was going to be Scarecrow and Harley Quinn was actually going to be legitly Joker's daughter, and then Scarecrow was going to like have the fear toxins and stuff like that.
I thought you meant what they were supposed to do instead of Batman Forever.
Well, no, this is after Batman Forever and Batman and Robin came out. So yeah, it was Joel Schumacher's Batman 5. So kind of like reading off this article, following his success with Batman Forever, which outgrossed Batman Returns, Joel Schumacher was rehired for its sequel, Batman and Robin. Pleased with the way the latter was shaping up, WB actually approached Schumacher about making another Batman movie in 1996. That ended up being, they did Batman and Robin. It was going to be Batman Unchained. That was the name.
That's what it was. That's
Batman Unchained. So that was going to be really kind of the Batman 5. So it was really, since Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin were kind of all, I guess, connected in a way. That's what they're trying to make it.
The only reason why they did Batman Forever with a different director was because everyone thought Batman Returns was too dark.
Yeah, Batman Returns wasn't the best.
Yeah, it was not good. I'll say it right now. It wasn't good.
So yeah, everybody was supposed to come back, but they were getting Nicolas Cage was going to be the Scarecrow. He was going to be Scarecrow.
The amount of things that Nicolas Cage was supposed to be is uncanny. He was supposed to be Scarecrow. He was going to be Superman. He was Ghost Rider. Like, I don't know what is up with Nick Cage. I love him, but like, what the hell?
So supposedly, like, yeah, this Batman Unchained movie, it was basically Scarecrow, and his fear toxin was going to bring back hallucinations of all the original, like, Batman villains. So Joker from Jack Nicholson's Joker, Tommy Lee Jones Riddler, Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman, Danny DeVito Penguin, Harley Quinn was going to be the other villain. Basically, what that was going to just bring everything full circle. Like, she's Joker's daughter, and like she's like
That's
reminding
so
him
weird.
of Joker. Yeah, like. Thank God it never happened. Joel Schumacher fucking sucks.
Why would I want? I'm not gonna make that joke. Never mind. But
let me tell you my list right now.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna start from the top here. So I have I wish we could show these lists on here. Honestly, I can't wait till we get like this stuff here so people can see it.
I could probably I could put it on here.
Yeah, but I have The Dark Knight Rises, and I have Batman versus Superman. Because technically, for me, Batman and Superman was technically a Batman movie to me. It reminded me of The Dark Knight Returns. And I have Batman Begins. Then I have Batman 89, which is a true classic that needs to be appreciated.
I don't know about that.
Then I have Batman Forever. Then I have Batman Returns. I didn't really like Batman Returns. Like, I thought it was awful. Then I have the Batman trailer, the most recent trailer that came out. Then I have the Dark Knight trailer. And then I have Batman and Robin.
What do you mean by trailer?
The trailers are better than Batman and Robin. I enjoyed the trailers as a movie better than I did as Batman and Robin.
I was like, trailers?
Yeah. Batman and Robin is literally ranked underneath trailers. That's how bad it is.
So for my list, I included pretty much every live action Batman where he's a main character. So I also I included Zack Snyder's Justice League on here. I didn't include I
I
didn't
didn't put
include
Justice League.
I didn't include the other Justice League because we're not
Justice League
talking
wasn't
about
really
that.
a Batman movie. It was a team up movie.
Well,
The
I
reason
just say that because like
because he's in it.
he was a major player in it.
Yeah, for sure.
So for my list, I'm starting from the bottom. So for my list, I have it at Batman and Robin as the bottom one, and then Batman Returns, and then yes, Batman '89, shut the hell up, and then Batman Forever, shut the hell up, and then I have Batman Begins, and then I have The Dark Knight Rises, and then I have Batman vs Superman, and then Zack Snyder's Justice League, and then at number one, The Dark Knight. So I think we can all universally agree that The Dark Knight is the best Batman movie.
Dark Knight's the definitely king, and maybe the Batman will hopefully overtake the.
And I know there are people out there that are saying, "Oh, the Batman, the new Batman movie, oh, it's never gonna overtake the Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is like."
I can't say that.
They kept saying it's lightning in a bottle, and I don't know what the hell that means. Like I know what it means, but like I don't know what they mean by that. Like the hell does that what the hell does that mean that it's lightning in a bottle? Like right time, right place, or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, in truth, that is correct. I mean, The Dark Knight was perfect, just perfect casting, perfect situation, perfect universe type thing. You're not always going to get that, but also like you can't like criticize like we're going to see other great iterations of Batman. I think Matt Reeves is going to do a great job with this, and I think it's actually going to be even better than Christopher Nolan's universe because there's things about Christopher Nolan's universe that I didn't like. I thought it was too grounded, too realistic. I thought they focused too much on like one villain like at a time.
That's my criticism of Christopher Nolan. Like as much as I love The Dark Knight and and the other two movies, I just feel like it was just too realistic. Like I got to have a little bit of fantasy in there. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, for sure, for sure.
It didn't feel too like the most comic book thing I saw in that trilogy was when Bane broke his back. Mm-hmm. Like that was the most comic book thing I ever saw because it actually happened in the comics.
Yeah, and I honestly like for me, I didn't include Justice League because, like I said, it didn't feel like I really only put like what I felt was Batman movies. Batman versus Superman honestly may be like my second favorite. My only problem with that was I think they kind of they did a lot of mistakes. I think if the studio would have just kind of let Zack Snyder like do his thing there, without kind of like trying to push characters and kind of tell like a Dark Knight Returns story, which that essentially was that's what it was going to be.
Yeah, they even referenced Dark Knight Returns in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's what that movie should have been like at the time. Like
it really did feel like Snyder wanted to do a Batman movie, but he also had to make it a Superman movie at the same time.
Because,
because that's what I was saying with Henry Cavill's role as Superman. It kept getting watered down. It kept getting smaller with every single movie. Like Justice League, he was only in it for like the last like half. He wasn't in the first half of it at all.
I know, and like it's Superman, man. That's why I think like Superman, like the Batman versus Superman, that would have been like a good like you get like Superman as like he is a main character in it, but Batman
his
has
name
to operate.
is in the title.
Yeah, but Batman has to like operate kind of around him, type thing. So I think they missed their mark on that because that easily I think I don't think it would have overtaken the Dark Knight, but it definitely would have been like. It would have been up there because The Dark Knight Returns is an incredible comic book for anybody who hasn't read it. Yeah. It's such a great story.
Yes, I have read The Dark Knight Returns. Shut the hell up.
I'll rank the comic book. Me reading the comic book over watching Batman and Robin. So that'll be my new ranking. God, there's so many things I would watch over Batman and Robin.
See, I wonder where you would put The Dark Knight Returns, the animated movie, in that list.
Oh, Dark Knight Returns, the animated movie?
Yeah.
Like if we're talking about all-time Batman movies, it's up there. Like it's top 5, I think.
Like for me, it would probably be The Dark Knight and then The Dark Knight Returns and then The Long Halloween.
Yeah, those because animated movies are honestly that's one thing DC has over Marvel. And the animated movies are just insane. That's why the animated movies, I'm gonna have to rewatch them because there's so many good ones. I think what we could probably do is like take our 10 best or the 10 like most popular like Batman animated movies, watch them, and then like kind of do like a reorder. Yeah, like do a reorder like which ones we think are the best. Yeah, because Dark Knight Returns will definitely be up there because that's such a great like story.
Because I have Under the Red Hood, I just haven't watched it yet, and I haven't even read the comic yet. I have Year One, haven't watched it, haven't read the comic. I have all of the comics.
Year One's good too. I totally forgot about Year One.
Yeah, Year One, I hear it's good.
I have the comic too for Year One. Year One's it's beautiful animation. That's such a there's so many cool stories there.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. This was pretty much just our Batman episode. We, if you can't tell, we love Batman.
Yeah.
Pretty much, I would say Batman and Spider-Man are my two favorite superheroes of all time. Those are my favorites. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, let us know what your ranking of the Batman movies would be. If you're excited for the Batman 2022, what you think about the whole rumors of what's going on with the DCEU, let us know what you think about that. If you're watching this on Spotify, definitely go ahead and follow our socials. Let us know what you think about this. Let us know what you think about the podcast. You know, give us, you know, all of your praise. We need it. But I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. If you guys are watching this day, morning, night, you know, whatever, have a great rest of your week as well. I have been Sam. He has been Jack, and we'll see you guys in the next one. See y'all later.
Peace. Justice.
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 Little bit of hate never ruin my day. What you gonna say? What you gonna say?